My name is Christoper Silvestri. I have owned Christopher John Limited since 2015 when we took on a Morgan franchise and opened the dealership here in Volusia County. My passion for this came from my own parents. I mean, my parents in the 1950s, my dad was driving an MGTD and my mom an MGA. And my dad was going to school and he would pass this girl every day in an MGA and he thought, oh, I gotta meet this girl driving a sports car. So I always kind of joke with people because they ask me, how did you get involved in this business? Because, it's kind of different and unusual in this time. And I said, well, I wouldn't be here on this planet if it wasn't for MGs and my parents passing each other on the way to school. So I guess it kind of started way back then, but it's always just been something that has captivated me from my youth. Well, my background originally started in textiles and apparel, which was non-related to automobiles, but I grew up in a family very passionate about sports cars and sports car racing, and I just have always been passionate about it and really, really love the history of motorsport, car racing, the history of car brands, and especially English cars, which is my big passion. And it just gravitated from always wanting to race sports cars to actively getting involved in the vintage racing scene and then opening my first shop in 99, 2000. From there it's expanded to what you see here today. I mean, there's something very Edwardian about a Morgan, those sloping rolling fenders and the louvers, and, it's really basically like a 1930s style in a modern car. And so, I don't know, there's something very unique about that feeling, and you just feel like you're driving something special. You're not just driving a car from point A to point B. You're literally taking in all the sounds and it just, I don't know, it's just a different feeling that I think you get from even, I'm sure people that love their Porsches or their Alfa Romeos or Maseratis or Lamborghinis, they have a similar feeling, but I think there's something really interesting about a Morgan, just that the way they haven't changed and that you just feel like you're a part of that history all the time.
My name is JP Silvestri. I do a little bit of everything. I work here in the back doing service work. I do a lot of the warranty stuff, parts ordering. I also help with sales.
No, I think he's really passionate about it, and he really loves the mechanical side of things. Has really studied and spent a lot of time, kind of learning about the SU carburetor, the Weber carburetor, the electrical system. I mean, he's torn down plenty of MGs and put them all back together himself. He's building his own 66 Sebring replica vintage race car, which he has tried to put it together to exacting standards of the original car, which I'm very proud of, which he also should be. The car's beautiful. It's actually over in the paint shop right now, unfortunately, but it's a really beautiful car.
Well, I'm a purist. I love making sure the cars are original. If it came with a generator on it, I want to see a generator on it. Not that I'm opposed to if a customer wants to upgrade to an alternator or something like that. It does make them a little more reliable, but there's a certain look and fit and feel to the cars when they're authentic, and I think that that's important to kind of preserve that history.
Yeah, I think he wants to carry on with it. I think he also loves the history. Like, I mean, we go to Sebring every year. I have for 35 years probably. Raced there a whole bunch of times. But the first thing we do is head over to the Legends area and look at the vintage cars, because that's our passion. So yeah, I know he wants to continue doing it and keep these English cars on the road.
So my dad As you know, before I was born, he was driving classic cars and racing them, and so he's always been passionate about it. And I grew up in the shop, so I think that really bled over into my childhood, and I can't imagine not having these cars in my life. For the most part, we have a great time. My dad and I love what we do. We're super passionate about these cars, so it makes it a lot easier that we share that passion. My dad and I both drive BGTs a lot, and we have quite a few customers who are also diehard GT guys. We always joke that one of our favorite sounds in the classic car world is the rear liftgate latching. It's such a distinct noise, and it's such a positive mechanical sound that it always kind of makes me smile every time I open and close the liftgate.
Okay, this is the 2025 US spec Morgan Plus 4. That's F-O-U-R. We used to use the number 4, but these cars are now spelling it out, F-O-U-R. This particular car is painted in Morgan metallic green. It's got a tan mohair hood, 15-inch wires, stainless steel. This car has a 5th tire, so it has a spare with a wire on there. It's got a luggage rack that hasn't arrived yet for it. The bodywork is all aluminum. These Morgans have a completely aluminum bonded chassis with a 4-wheel independent suspension. They have brand new door system. There are handles on the outside with a push button. An all new, really nice sealed door with the side curtain. It's got a beautiful full leather interior, accent wood center column and dash piece, digital gauges, BMW 8-speed automatic gearbox with paddle shift or manual on the shifter. It's got the BMW Z4 motor, so it's a 2-liter turbo, makes 260 horsepower. I think it's the perfect sports car. 2025 Morgan Plus 4.
Daytona's kind of been famous for NASCAR and auto racing, and a Morgan is part of that history. I mean, they raced at the 24-hour race traditionally, and I mean, it doesn't look anything like a modern day NASCAR or like anything else on the road. So there is a lot of automotive culture here, and it stands out in the fact that it is traditional and different.
Kind of purists here. You know, there's so much like modification in the car world, all these resto mods, and we're, I guess in a way, we're trying to preserve these things. And there's so many aftermarket things for these cars that supposedly make them better or more reliable. And yes, there are a few things that we definitely adhere to, like electronic ignition and using good quality parts on the cars, which are getting harder and harder to come by. But we like to try to keep them as original as possible, because these cars were essentially pretty rugged, reliable cars when they were new. And so we try to keep them that way. And like people tend to always mock or make fun of Lucas Electronics and say that they're the Prince of Darkness and they're not reliable and they break down. And that really isn't the case, because if you keep an MG serviced and service your SU carburetors and don't mess around too much with the wiring, it's a pretty simplistic car that's actually quite reliable. And we try to emphasize that with our customers, and I think it kind of shows off in our customer base and their willingness to come back here and return time and time after again, because they're getting good service and they're getting the right service for these cars. They're not just being sold a bunch of aftermarket parts and being told that putting a aluminum radiator in or a whole bunch of different relays and big fuse panels that were going to make the car more reliable. But we try to stick to the way the cars were built and maintain them the way they should be maintained, and I find them to be most reliable that way.